The one.
This is 2OF Entertainment.
Hello.
We are here.
Hello.
Look at us.
Hello,
And today,
everybody.
the topic is death.
Oh,
Or
really?
as Monty Python would say, the lighter side of life.
This is death.
Always look
This is
on the
death.
bright side of life.
Or, of course, if
Anyway.
you're unfortunate to have that as your surname, of which quite a few people are, they call themselves DS. My name is Mr.
Okay.
DS. Yeah.
So what are we going to this death thing fascinates me because I'm with the Illuminati and lizard people. We live forever. But you're humans. You fascinate me. Tell me about your death.
Okay, so no. What I make the question. I'm the host here. Come on, you
You're the
take my
host.
job. You want my wage
Okay.
also? What is going on? Okay.
Yeah.
No, I don't want your job. You keep going.
Yeah.
You plug
Okay.
away.
We'll have half of what we're already paying you. That'll do
That's
us.
right.
Yeah, it's enough. It's enough.
Okay. There you go.
Let's just don't blow it. Okay.
No
lower
blow.
it
There you go.
down.
All right. So let's talk about death. This is exciting. Tell us about death.
No, I make the questions.
Okay. Well, ask a question about the death.
We've
You tell
already
me the
lost.
question.
We've already lost
So,
half
guys,
of the
okay.
podcast to a couple of people now.
You
Everyone
see how we
thinks
treat
they-
death? We see how we treat death here? Don't pay any
Irreverent.
respect.
We don't.
Okay.
It's a guy with a
Tell
sickle and
me
a
you
sheet.
guys, because the topics I come up with the topics. Tell me you
Right,
guys,
right.
what is death and what's your feeling about it and anything you'd like to say. So let's start with Mr. Anagram, Fat Diva Lidor.
Well, I was going to say that my latest my latest experience of death. My latest experience of death is being smacked around by
Only in the bedroom.
by a Greek artist because we can't keep on topic. So that's the first death I'm experiencing. So death by 1,000 cuts today. And my experience of death.
I tell you that people are interested in death much more than we believe because death is actually the fear of the unknown, and it's the biggest primal fear that we have.
Right. I haven't personally
it defines everything. It defines death. It defines everything. But death, in my opinion, is about. But you should tell me first. Start, please, Mr. Fad.
David, tell us about that.
Yeah, well, like I haven't experienced physical death, although I've been on quite a few shows where I've died, and so have my jokes. I don't know if that tells. You know what, and I mean this absolutely seriously. Death doesn't scare me, but life sometimes scares the crap out of me. But I'm not too worried about death.
Really? Why aren't you worried about that?
Start, please, with the definition. Your definition. What is that?
Well, whenever
a young guy, very young guy, like 8 years old, 7, comes to you and say, Mr. Fadiva, Mr. Anagram, what is that?
Yeah. For me, it's when I've no longer experience what I'm experiencing in this particular form that I'm now in. So that's the end of that. And I have no idea what may come, should come, would come. Who cares if it's going to come after that? So,
what do you think? What do you think will come?
What do I think?
Yes. What do you believe? Because no one knows.
I think that if I concentrate too much on that, it'll make my brain explode, and that means that I will lose some of the moments of joy that I have experiencing in this current consciousness.
So thinking about death does not give us pleasure, right?
Well, it's an unanswerable question. So why would I want to spend my life, being obsessed with it?
Yeah, but I think that death is part of life. It actually defines the
Yeah, but it's like
definition.
it's at the full stop at the end of my sentence, then, isn't it? So I've already finished speaking, and then there's a full stop.
I'm sorry. Okay.
So that's me. So it doesn't. I don't. I've experienced death around me, family members, good friends, and you just have to think, okay, that's the end of that particular chapter in that particular book, of which I'm involved with them in that storyline that finishes. So I open the book up again, start a new chapter, and move on.
So it's something final, right? It doesn't.
As far as this consciousness, as far as I'm can experience, can feel, whatever. When this stops, then I have no idea what's going to happen next, and it doesn't bother me.
Well.
Doesn't bother me too much, to be honest, because I can't answer the question, so I get busy about it. I don't believe I'm going to go to wherever.
That's what I said. It's the big unknown. It's the biggest unknown that we have, actually.
Yeah, so I mean, or maybe I will go somewhere, in which case, great, it'll be a nice surprise. And I hate surprises. So,
You hate surprises?
I do. I'm not very good with surprises.
Well, welcome to life, which has death also.
Yeah. Well,
Evidently, life is about surprises, I think.
It's one of the traits of being autistic. You don't particularly like surprises. So I don't particularly like surprises, it would seem.
Okay, but imagine a society, like a reality, without death. How we would like? How would
that would be interesting.
That we are only born, not dying, only born.
Well, in which case, that would be interesting. No, actually, Steve, I disagree. I think it'd be quite interesting, because then you'd have loads of people who've done loads of stuff before I came, and then you could just sort of wander around to their house, knock on the door, and say, "Hello, Genghis Khan. How are you today? How are you, mate?" Or Julius Caesar.
Right, but that would require a utopia, because people would have to take care of each other, because the way we are today as a society, once you hit 60, 70 years old, if you don't have money, people just throw you out in the street and they don't care. So that would require a whole change of thinking. That's a little different than, that's a nice utopia. I would like to be able to walk and talk to people of history, like Benjamin Franklin and George Washington.
But imagine only people.
Can I just say it's very interesting that your first two names that you mentioned are directly connected to money, Stephen. But there you go.
Yes. USS Grant. I mean, listen, it started with the big guy, the Franklin. You know what I'm saying? It's like, if you're going to go, you got to do the Franklin. I would be the Queen, but she's not going to fight.
No, I'd walk past her. I'd walk past her house.
Yeah, no money there. So, but I mean, I think that would be very cool. But to your point about death, and I don't think it's the fear of the unknown. For some people, it's very exciting, right? Because they believe a fable that says they're going to meet a guy with a white beard. For other people, I think it may be the fear of the unknown. And then other people who just think you die, you die. There's no fear at all. It's just like, I'm here and I won't know that I'm not here. I think Einstein said it best. He says, I wasn't here for 14 billion years. Then I was here. I won't be here for another 14 billion years. So it's just an interesting philosophy. Like, then you have the CIA's the Gateway Project that talks about the absolute, that we're all energy. We go back to the absolute, which is kind of like the theory of, I guess, God. So it's I don't think it's the fear of the unknown. I think it's just the unknown. What is death? Nobody knows. You know what I mean? I think that in a way is the most exhilarating high there is. These people that climb Mount Everest, people that jump out of airplanes, people that do whatever, race cars. But that death is the most exhilarating high there is, because it's either A or B, and you don't know until it happens. And I think that's fascinating. And I think that's why people are always trying to figure it out, because science is always trying to answer it. And we won't know until you know. And I think it's just one of those things.
Do you think people are addicted to death? They're addicted to being as near to death as they could possibly get by taking lots of incredible risks.
Yeah, I think that and people are adrenaline junkies. I know there's some in BDSM. There's you can suffocate, you can do this, you can do that. It brings you close to like that feeling, that euphoria of death, I guess, for lack of a better term. Um, I don't know if an adrenaline junkie or like a Formula One driver is looking for death. I think he just likes the fact that he gets to go speed. Climbing Mount Everest, more people are dying doing that. To me, that's just a death wish. That's different than just dying. And to your point, yes, we've died on many of our shows, but I don't fear it. I think when I was younger, I feared it. I would wake up in the middle of the night in cold sweats and like, oh my God, I'm going to die one day. And then all of a sudden, when I became part of the Illuminati, I all of a sudden, as I got older, I was like, I'm okay. It's like, I'm good with it. I don't fixate on it anymore. I'm just like, because what I learned is
you
I
have
fixate
made
on it,
peace with it,
make peace with it. But what I learned is if I concentrate on that, I won't live. And also, if I concentrate on that, instead of just dying once, I'll die 1,000 times. So now I just go and enjoy my life.
Yeah,
And I've
but
already
it
been
can
close
be.
to death like 5 or
Yeah,
6 times. So I'm good. So
yeah, but some people study it. It doesn't matter. It doesn't mean that they fear it, but they study
studying
it.
is
So they
different.
think about
Studying
it.
is different. Yeah. But that's different, though. I think about eating food. I don't eat it all day, right? It's the same type of thing. But also,
why would you study death? Why?
Because it's a very important part of life.
People are fascinated by it, David.
It defines life. It defines life because, as I ask, imagine if there was no death. You know what will happen? Everything not everybody, not only humans, every living animal, and
Right.
we 99.9, I think, a percent of the species that existed are instinct, instinct, instinct.
Instinct.
Yeah,
Instinct.
Yeah.
They would be still here. They would be still here. And not only that, look, we have a natural progress of getting older. They would be like totally old. You know what I mean? It's totally like you would see dinosaurs would be old like hell. And they were like,
Oh my God, that'd be awesome. An old dinosaur. That'd be cool.
oh,
You're like, hey,
everything would be. But there would be a very, very big problem. A problem of resources.
Yes, Medicare. That would be a
Not
big
only,
issue.
or resources in general.
There'd be
That's what I
dino
said
care then,
earlier,
wouldn't
though.
it? They'd have dino care for all that.
I don't care. Fred
But
Flintstone care. But no, that's what I said earlier, though. We that would have to be a utopia, because without that utopia, we couldn't take care of each other. And you also have to understand, I've been close to death 4 times in my life.
all right, so tell us about it. So you are close. You were closer to death.
That's a whole nother show. So,
yeah, let's talk a little about that. So you had a near death experience, a so-called NDE.
I've had near death 4 times, maybe 5.
Well, tell us about the most.
They're all most.
It's like this infuriating weed you have in your garden you can never get rid of, and that's the thing.
That's true. Yeah.
So, what do you report from that experience?
Well, nice thing, I wasn't dead. I was still alive, but I mean, I've come close to death. So let's clarify. I didn't see shiny lights and the whole family in the tube and whatever. I just came close to it. But it's funny when you come close to it, and like the doctors are like, you're not going to make it, and then you live. You have a different perspective on life. So when I came close to death,
how thinking about death can change you in a way.
Yeah, it did. And that's what happened when I was 15 or 16. I was blown up. She was into blow torches. She was a kinky thing. I loved her. And I had 3rd and 4th degree burns. I didn't know they go as high as 6 degrees, but hey, who knew? And I had 48% of my body, head to knees, burnt bad. And so I inhaled a bunch of gas. It was a whole thing. And I remember the doctor at the hospital was like, you may not make it. Like the next 50 hours are the most critical for you. And I was like, good to know. So I bet him $500 that I would, and I won, and I collected. But at that point, no, I wasn't, because I was like,
doctor told you?
No, because I had to call my mom. This is a funny story, I guess. I had to call my mom to get permission for them to work on me because I was a minor, and not one with a little light and a hat. So I remember, first of all, I got blown up. The police show up, and I'm the one who called 911. The police show up, and this guy, Al Rosen, I never forgot him. said, "Were you in this explosion?" And now I look like I was in an explosion or I was an extra on a set. And I was like, "You think?" He's like, "Get in my car. I'm taking you to the hospital." So we go to the hospital. I get there, and the doctor's like, "Well, you're a minor. We need your mom to give permission." So I called my mom, and I was paying my way through a private high school. And I told her I had cut my finger at work and they needed to do some work on me. That was the lie I told her, but she had to come down to the hospital because she had to sign some forms. So she's like, oh, okay. This is like 10 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday or whatever. And she's like, fine, I'll be down. It was July 5th, 1978, whatever day that was. Okay. If you want to look it up. So she's like, okay. And I said to the doctor, you can't tell my mom what happened because she has to drive from work to here. She'll never make it. And he's like, okay. So he said, yes, Stephen had a little accident. We need you to sign some forms. So I told her I cut my finger. Meanwhile, after that phone call, I'm laying on a bed of ice. I've got like 50 needles in me because they're trying to put liquids back in, take liquids out, make sure I'm not going to die, the whole 9 yards. And my mom walks in and sees me. Now, because of the heat, my head grew, not like it usually does, my ego, 3 or 4 times its normal size. I mean, like I had skin just dripping all over me. So when she walked in, she was like, oh my God. And the doctor was like, he could die. That's all I heard for 50 hours is he could die because they were afraid of whatever. And all of a sudden it was sort of like this calm. I was like, okay, I could die. It is what it is. But I was like, nah, I'm good.
knew it from the
beginning.
I'm going to. That I could die anytime.
I could die. Like I knew coming into this, I knew what the deal was, but it was like, no, I'm good. I'm not going to die. And that's why I said to the doctor, I got $500 that says I live. And I was supposed to be in the hospital anywhere from 12 to 18 months. I walked out of the burn unit 35 days later. I mean, still looking like, the mummy and with bandages and Job stockings and whatever. But I walked out and they were shocked. And it really, I think, is for the death part of it. It's initial fortitude. You have to determine as a human, you're either going to live or you're going to die. So when adversity comes now, I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. You make billions, you lose billions. It's okay. I can still make it and I can lose it, but I try not to. And I don't care. And I realize as I've gotten older, it all falls on me. I have to do it. So there's nothing that puts me to the state of like, oh my God. And ever since that experience, I don't have a fear of it anymore. I'm like, okay, we're good. Yeah. So something in the universe, whether you want to call it God, the universe, angels, absolute, or the gods or whoever, in my case, the Illuminati and lizard people, something likes me. Because that was one of 4 or 3 death experiences that I've had. And every time it's just sort of like, no, you're not ready to go. We have something for you to do. And I'm like, okay. And that's it. So I go with the flow. And I've never, ever looked back ever since then. I just keep kicking in the door, no fear. I know I'm going to die at some point. And when I do, I do. But my first experience with death was when I was 3 years old.
What did this experience add to your life, actually? Did it change something inside of your system, of your thinking?
No, I was always a smart ass, which was evident when I told the doctor I bet him $500 I was going to live. I don't know if it changed that I could see, but I think my attitude towards life and death and people changed for
everything, probably.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate things a lot more, even though some people say I don't. I do, but I do privately. Like I'm not one of these people who go, oh my God. No, that's too bullshitty for me. I appreciate things privately. If I give to a charity or a person, I give them money to help them. I don't put it on Instagram or TikTok or YouTube. That's between me and the organization. That's between me and that person. So I've learned to appreciate things on a grander scale. So to me, it's much more important than the accolades of people. I don't give a fuck about people. I give a fuck about what I have to care about, which is, can I look at myself every morning in the mirror? And as long as I can do that, I'm good. And like I said, I came close at 3 years old. I came close at 6 or 7 years old. I came close at 10 years old, then at 15 or 16, and then probably a couple more times after that. But that one was probably, the one that stands out the most because of the dramatics of it than anything else. Blowing up a building is not like, your everyday occurrence. But I want to thank everybody that helped us. So,
I must admit that I had cancer 20-something odd years ago. Came out of hospital. Came out of hospital on 9/11, the actual 9/11 date. Yeah, it's made me slightly more sentimental. I don't really think I cried too much before then about anything. But I had a type of cancer where 8 out of 10 people who get it die. I was just very lucky, very, very lucky that it happened on my appendix, and they took that out and then realized, oh wow, there's a whole lot of other stuff happening here. So that was just luck, the little whatever, little angel sitting on my shoulder.
It might be luck, it might be not, might be like a
Well, I
fortune.
think without if that hadn't happened,
Your fate.
I wouldn't be talking to you and Stephen.
Yeah, so we have two aspects of death. It's our death, our own death, and there's a death of some people that we love and we care for. So this is a loss. Of course, the loss of your life is also a loss to you too. I guess that's the biggest issue. But there's also the aspect of the death of others that we care.
It's your life is only if you're conscious of it after you're dead, then you realise I've lost something.
Right.
But if you just die, like I say, it's a full stop at the end of the sentence.
Okay, but do you think, guys, that death is the final end? There is nothing totally. Well, your intuition, or there is something going on later. Of course, not your body, because for sure death is the end of your body. This is.
I used to be. I was trying. Everybody has these sort of religious moments in their lives, and I was obsessed with trying to find out the better me and what's going to happen, and literally the set to get to the seventh heaven. Work that one out. But yeah, after I had that experience, and my mother was very, very sort of black and white about stuff. She used to say like, right, when your name's called, you go. Simple as that. And so when everybody else was crying and oh my God, we're going to come out of the operating room and and I just said, well, yeah, I'll see you the other side. Like, a little bit like Steve, really. And why? Because I thought, no, I didn't feel for 1 minute that, that was critical operation. I didn't think for that 1 minute that I wouldn't survive it. But, apart from my dietary issues and the fact that I cry at every soppy movie that comes on the TV, nothing else has really changed.
So it did change you somehow, right?
You made him more sensitive. But we see, my death stuff was different. Like I split.
Yeah, well, maybe I think the sentimentality was because I had 2 young kids, you see, and I didn't. So I really appreciated them when I came out. I mean, there were 4 and 5 or 5 and 6, I think was that. Yeah. So yeah, so that was quite shocking.
Okay, but
and that's what's different about. Wait a minute. So when people talk about death, for the most part, right, it's a religious thing. It's like, oh, you go to a scary place or you don't, or that's all bullshit. That's so I think you can keep the minions in order.
You don't know.
Right? I truly think
that pay your penance, Stephen. You have to pay to stay alive every week.
Dude, I'm Jewish. I'm Jewish. We own it all, so we're good. And even part of the Illuminati and lizard people, we invented it. So either way, I'm good. I'm good. But my point is that they try to scare the public with, you're going to die, you're going to do this. If you're not good, you're not that good. And I think people would know if there was no 10 commandments, for lack of a better term. Like murdering someone's probably not a good thing. So I think they try to scare people as like, when you die, if you were bad, you go to this bad place.
Yeah.
And if you're good, you go to a good place. And I think people, this Pollyanny crap that we have here in America with the Christians that are like, oh, and they commit most of the atrocities from what I can tell, and they're the ones that are like, it's like, enough with this crap. Why don't we just all be good? Not worry about what happens when you die. Let's just all be good here whether you're here for 10 years or 10,000 years as a person, be here, be good. And when you go however you go.
Yeah. But look, we're dealing with our lives because there is death, and we know that there is death, and we are the only species that we know about death, that we're going to die just from the beginning. And isn't death
well,
a
you don't know in
driving
the
force?
beginning. Hold on a second.
You don't look any better.
I know, but in the beginning, though, you don't know about death, because when you're born,
You don't know anything
all
at the
you do is
beginning.
you get
just
hopefully
baby.
a hot nurse that smacks your ass. Right, the hot little blonde nurse with the big boobies goes smack, and you're like, "Ooh, how exciting!" And then you don't really find out about death until you're probably maybe 6, 7, 8, or 9, because somebody will die, and then your parents have to explain it.
Until the whole church marketing organization clicks in, and they say, "Well, look, you don't necessarily have to go to heaven. You could go to hell, but we'll put you in purgatory in between." So how do I not go to purgatory? Well, if you give us a shitload of money, we can sort of pray for you, and you can skip that bit. It's a bit like having to wait in the waiting room before you get your virgins. It's all that same old bollocks.
Yeah. There's virgins. Ooh.
Yeah.
I think the Egyptians had it right with, and remember, before like 63 CE, there was gods with an S. So I think the ancients that we don't even know that existed, that were really here when it was closer to the beginning of zero. When they talk about death and you read their books, you talk about the gods and this is what happens and your energy goes here. I believe them more than I believe the fable, because the fable is just a book of some stories about some guy that may or may not have existed. And they say he did. Well, okay. And there's archaeological proof of Moses, and I got all that, and I believe all that. I'm good with that. The 5 books of the Torah. But the rest of it is kind of like it's a fairy tale. If you think about it, this heaven and hell thing didn't start until
but this is one philosophy of thousands of philosophies that exist.
Yeah, but they all seem
Buddha
to have
doesn't have that. Buddha,
we're talking about it because it's the dominating philosophy, the religion in the West where we live.
Is, right.
But there are other religions which don't take this kind of story, this kind of narrative about heaven and hell and a guy with a beer. A patriarch, an older guy who's judging you. Oh, you are good, you are bad, something like. There are other religions don't take it this way.
But they all have one thing in common, don't they? They all have a manual. Like if you buy a car years ago, you'd have a manual to tell you how to repair it. They don't do it anymore. But you could get these. This is a Ford, whatever. This is the manual how to repair your car. And these religious books are manuals to help people who can't think, won't think, will never be able to think, too scared to think, get through life. I once asked a Christian, "Oh, what's this thing about the Bible? Did you believe in it?" He said, "I believe in it from the index to the appendix." So I had it over. That's what he was talking about.
Okay.
So I believe everything. I said, "Well, all of it, yeah. Well,
really?
King James version, whatever version it is." New Bible, New Testament, he believed all of it. And the reason why, he says, because it's not necessarily I believe in the words but I believe in the essence, what it's trying to tell me. This is a manual for my life, and it's a manual that I want to use to live my life by. And hey ho, that makes me a Christian. That makes me a Muslim. Okay. So, yeah.
Yeah, but this is talk more about religions, not about the death itself. I will come back to
all the religions are all obsessed with death.
Yeah, because it's the primal fear. I don't believe that there is. I don't believe that there is somebody who is not fear of death and the unknown. I believe that there are people who say that they don't fear. But okay, let's take it out of it. Isn't death, my question, isn't death a driving force for life? Because if we knew that we are going to live forever, it's like we said in some other episode that who would do anything? Would we be doing any shows? Would we be doing any work, any artwork? I would say, let's do it tomorrow. But tomorrow might have a form of the next 10,000 years or 100. Right. It doesn't really matter because since there is no death, actual time doesn't have any significance. And but when you think about the death, I'm getting older. I have to do some stuff in my life.
You don't have to do anything. You don't have to do
Yeah,
anything.
You don't have to do
there's a lot of
anything,
people
but
that don't do any. There's a lot of people that don't do
Yeah,
anything, and
exactly.
they're going to die. So it doesn't matter if you're going to live forever.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you're living forever or if you have a 100-year lifespan. It's up to you. It's whatever in your character that you're going to go do. It's like the old joke where the guy goes to heaven and he says to God, he goes, what's a penny to you? And God goes, a penny's $1 billion. He goes, wow. He goes, God, what's like a million years to you? And he goes, it's a second. And the guy goes, hey, God, can I borrow a penny? He goes, in a second. So it's the same premise of that joke. It's like you have to have an understanding that if you want, you can accomplish something. You can leave some sort of a legacy if that's what you want to do. But even that will fade away. 5,000 years from now,
but even
no one's
beyond
going to
it,
remember anybody.
even beyond it, even the legacy is gone.
I would dispute that. I would dispute the fact that you say that death pushes us forward. I think it's the obsession of becoming immortal that pushes us forward.
Well, that's the
Really?
same thing.
Your artwork makes you immortal. The fact that we're on this YouTube show,
It doesn't make me immortal. My artwork doesn't make me immortal.
It does.
It does so much.
It would outlive you, and people will consider you.
But immortal means to live it forever. It's not going to happen
Nothing
forever.
lives forever.
In the next 4 billion years, there will be no planet.
Right.
The sun will go big,
but
we might not make it as a species.
Your artwork will outlive your physical lifespan. So there is.
I'm saying that
an
the
element of immortality about your artwork that you're doing. It's the same with the shows that we're on now. They will outlive our lifespan, and they will make us, in that extended period, immortal, as nothing else does. And that's why people write. That's why people,
so it's a driving force. It's making them live, want to express, do things, act,
I don't support your argument.
Meet people, tell them you love them.
No, I don't support your argument that it's death that pushes it forward. My premise would be that it would be immortality that pushes people through life.
But that's different than death. Immortality is different than death.
Is it?
No, it is connected with death. But look, so you say that, okay, I'm an artist, so let's say that my work may outlive me. But let's take an accountant.
Yeah.
What is the driving force for him to live and to create, to do the work that he's doing, when his work is not going to outlive him or anything? And
Slavery. Why else would he do it? He does it because he has to earn a living, and he doesn't want to be working in a factory, pulling a lever and ringing a bell. He's clever enough to find something which he can do, which sits within his own mental capacity. But basically, he's a slave to the organization he's working for.
Well, in what way? You offer some time of your life, and you get some money that keep you survive.
It's not an offer; it's prostitution.
People don't work for slavery; they work for survival.
Yeah, well, it's the same thing. It's a form of slavery. The fact that you're doing something for somebody else, work-wise, is a form of slavery. And
we are doing this show to the people. Is it a slavery?
No, I'm doing this for my own immortality.
That's for
immortality.
Immortality. So let me ask you this then. So then, death. Everyone's going to die. Let's just I know that science is reversing aging and whatever, so you can live to 150 now. That's awesome. I'm already 1 billion years old.
Yeah, that's just extension of life. Death will happen.
Right,
either you are 200 years old, either you're 50, you're 20, whatever age.
But here's how I look at this now. So you live for this immortality. So yes, granted, the shows that we do, we will be around forever until Google takes us off their server. Johnny Carson
doesn't sound like forever.
No. Johnny Carson will be Johnny Carson will be around forever. The Egyptian pyramids are going to be nobody knows who built them, so to speak, but they are around forever. So if you look at a company like General Electric, everybody forgets that Thomas Edison founded it, right? They just know General Electric, but they know Thomas Edison did a light bulb thing. It's going to be the same with Facebook. The same with Apple. 100 years, 200 years, 300 years from now, people aren't going to remember. I know all these people are living for their immortality and they want to live forever and they go, look what I did. But 200 or 300 years from now, they're going to be like, oh yeah, I use an Apple product. They'll be like, who started that company? The kids then are going to be like, I don't know who started it. Like the kids today don't know who started General Electric or General Motors or Ford. And so I think this chase for immortality is a fleeting thing, because if you look at the stars of the 30s, 40s, and 50s, nobody remembers them really. And it's one of
So it's
those
a vanity.
sort of like,
You say it's a vanity.
right. And why be that? Listen, just enjoy your life. You be the best you can be at it. And if you're best at being in life as a motherfucker, then that's what you should be. Or an asshole, be the best asshole.
Yeah.
I mean, but that's okay.
That would mean
and
the
then,
worst.
right? But my point is though, but don't live for immortality. Live to enjoy life. Enjoy every moment. That's why I'm
enjoy
very big on.
mortality.
Yeah, but this is
Right.
for me.
I'm big on not
double
looking at my
bubble.
phone every 5 seconds. I know that, but that's why I don't look at my phone every 5 seconds, because I want to enjoy the moment. I don't want to enjoy. I don't
Looking
need to
at your
share everything I do.
looking at your telephone is also a moment, also an experience. It's part of life. But anyway,
Yeah.
I will come to another part of death now. Trying
Okay.
to see what really is. And when
Sure.
when we talk about death, we actually mean the process of dying, because after that process, when this is complete, there is no death anymore. There is no existence, at least here on the space-time, the way that we are perceiving things. And science have tried to find out what's happening, in the brain when you're happening, and they see that even if your heart stops for some time, even if they say sometimes that it might be 15 minutes, it can be 20 minutes, that still there are signs of activity in your brain, and they correspond to the parts of the brain where you dream, you have like those kind of experiences. So and like everything in nature, nothing is totally sudden, nothing. So even your death is not sudden. So your heart may stop beating, but there is something that you experience during the death. We just don't know. We have the reports from the people from near-death experiences that they say about the light. They say about being like in the operation room, and they go out of their body and they look and they can see what's going on. They report it even, which is crazy stuff, because they have been under heavy anesthetics, which one of them that they put, it's a mix, it's a cocktail of things, of drugs. One of them is to alter your memory also. So how they could manage to report those things that will really happen. There are some reports also that talk about being one of the doctors, for example, and even have one of the thoughts that the doctors had. And one of the doctors were really ashamed because he had some strange thing during the operation. And here the person, the patient, reported those. How is this possible? You can say that, oh, it's bullshit. Well, it's happening. If you look around, it's happening. So
there's 60 Minutes did a story about 30 years ago about near-death experiences, and they talked to 5 people. And one of the guys who died on the operating table, who came back, of course, they said, what did you experience? So like he said, the lights and all that other crap. He said, yeah. He says, but what he came back and told people, his operating room was on the 3rd floor. He told them when he came back what was going on the 4th and 5th floor. He was like, oh, I was at the nurses' station, and the nurses were doing this, told him the time. And he said, then on the next floor, and he would tell them what was going on each floor. And they went back and checked, and he was spot on. Yeah. So I don't think
how you explain this?
My point is, I don't think when you die the way we think death. I think your physical, this sheet of clothing that we call our body, I think that goes away. I think the energy or your spirit or your soul, whatever you want to call it, I think that
consciousness
goes to your consciousness goes, if you go with the absolute, and the Gateway Project from the CIA goes back to the absolute. If your consciousness goes to, if you will, heaven, or goes somewhere else, it goes to there. There's a psychologist who did a study that said these children that were 5 and 6 years old, they would like ask them where they came from. And they would talk about they were in this waiting room, waiting to be born. And he did like 1,000 students, some German psychologist. So I think there's more to it than we will know.
Oh, that's why we're talking about it.
Right, until we can cross into, if you will, the multiverse and universes and
we're
other
talking
things.
about death, right? We're talking about death.
Right.
But people who take psilocybin, for instance, in cultures throughout the world, have would have been impossible to have met, have only one thing in common, that the Homo sapiens all have the same types of visions. So there's something within our DNA that which we collectively share, and maybe it's the drugs. I mean, psilocybin, for instance, once described to me as, well, most people live in the lobby of a hotel. If you take psilocybin and you go into that journey within the psilocybin trip with the mushrooms, you actually move out of the lobby in the hotel and you explore the hotel. You find it has different rooms with different experiences in, which you've never seen before.
Yeah, and much more intense. Look, they say that psychedelics is the closest thing that we have to death.
Yes.
And most of the people report the ego dissolution, that your ego, one of the topics that we had was also the ego identity, and said all our stories that I'm Adam Martinaki, born in Poland, then came to Greece, artist, etc. All this is dissolved. And from being a localized entity like we are right now, we are a localized entity in the space-time. That's what we are.
Right.
When you die and your body is dead, actually, then you stop to be localized. You stop to be in the space-time. So you're not bound by time anymore. Also not space, but they go together.
Right.
And that means that the 15 minutes that you report, that the MIR reports brain activity during the death process, there are many things happening at that time, but you, on your subjective, you might not experience any more time. You may stop to be a localized personality and become the world, because the universe, because as local personalities, we are external observers. We can see the world. We can even see our hands. I can see you guys and everything. But when you dissolve all this, then you're becoming the universe, because that's what happens. Because either you are localized, either you're not localized. If you're not localized, then what are you? You are the whole, the thing in itself, the whole thing.
And this is the whole shaman experience, that you are taken to that point where you can see that you are just that you as a one is not important, but you as a one of the collective,
the ego, your ego,
is incredibly important. So
and suddenly
you're only important to yourself at the end of the day.
No,
you're the most important.
You're important. You're important to people who love you. Probably more important than you.
I love you, Stephen. I love you, Stephen. You're important to me.
Yeah, to me too.
Thank you.
No. And David.
That's good.
Yeah, we know each other. We're friends. I would be very sad if I heard I think you would be sad also.
No.
Yes,
if you heard about me, my death.
Yes.
Well, then I'll meet you there when you die. I'm gonna show you. And you know something? There's also some strange things that report also that there was one woman that she had a death experience, and she said that when she was dying, she kind of reported that she was seeing her father, and at some moment she became her father. She felt like she became her father also. So this is also one of the things that we may think about, that when the ego dissolves, then you're no longer you, the way you perceive yourself, you thought about yourself, you, the ego, your story, your narrative. And then you become the world, you become everything. The consciousness, the big mind at large that we're talking, like idealists are talking about.
Yeah. When my mom...
But what's the scariest? Now, the question is, what is the scariest thought? That death is a total end of everything and it's nothing beyond it. There's nothing, you don't experience anything. Or there is something which continues forever and ever and ever and ever in a cycle. You get born again and you suffer and you born again and suffer and you burn. Because life is about suffering. We have to admit it. We cannot deny it.
I think that death is the rebirth of some new beginning, whatever the new beginning is, in whatever form or whatever dimension or whatever world
the
or whatever
cycle.
universe you come back in. Yeah, I think it's just a circle of
You
life,
believe
as
in
the Disney
circles.
song would be. I think so, because there's too much out there that people can't explain. There's too many things that, like, I remember.
Yeah, but why this
like some
obsession in
psychics,
explaining it all? Why it's
because
you know,
we're
We
human
are
and we need
curious
an
species. We're
explanation.
curious species. We want to.
Yeah, we need to
yeah,
know.
but
We need to know
there's a
everything.
difference between being curious and being obsessed.
Yeah,
I know
okay.
it's a very,
Well, some
Obsession is
people are
a
obsessed with that.
heavy.
very fine line, but you can drive yourself absolutely insane. You know, you have these
You
people
can.
who have a mental illness, they're religious maniacs, religious fanatics that drive themselves absolutely crazy. Yeah, I think
Yeah, but
it's the same.
obsession is a topic that we can make. Oh, we probably have obsessions. It's a
Oh,
good topic. Addictions,
Right.
obsessions. Those
Yeah.
are nice topics that we can talk for 1 hour. But let's continue with the death, totally death, because you see
Right.
our shows. It's already 45 minutes.
We're
They go
nearly
very
dead.
fast. Yeah.
We're nearly dead.
Oh, for sure, we are closer to death from comparing to the
Yeah.
beginning
45
of the
minutes
show.
closer.
45 minutes ago.
Let me
Hey, tell me about it.
let me
I
just
wake
say-
up every morning, I can hear the clock ticking. You know what I mean?
let me just say this. When you were talking about people, like when my mom was close to death, 2 or 3 weeks before she passed, she would have conversations with her father. And she would have these conversations, go, "Did you see Pop?" And I'd be like, "No." And she'd be looking in the corner. So I think before you die, you're making peace, whether it's real peace or in your mind. But the other thing I noticed when people are about to die and they're getting old or they're sick, they get their legs get black and blue. And then the nurse that we had hired to take care of my mom, there's several of them, was telling us that when that starts, that's like the onset. That's like death coming to let you know that
Yeah.
it's coming. And I thought that was very interesting. And the one nurse we had was from Jamaica, and she was very philosophical about it all. And
Did
I
you make
thought
her,
to
or did
myself,
she come of her own accord? Boom, boom. Sorry.
yeah, you're right. But it was just the way she did it was very, I guess, comforting to everybody. And I thought that was very nice. Like, and my mom was 97, 98 when she passed. So it wasn't like she didn't have a full life. Like we used to joke with her, if she could just make it to 100. But it was very interesting. So all of it is fascinating. It's the same reason I think I read history books. I'm fascinated by everything.
Yeah, I'm
And
fascinated
this
too.
is just one of these other things. And this is one of these things I'm fascinated. I want to know more. I don't want to know soon.
It
but I
doesn't.
want to
It
know
doesn't
more.
mean that you want to die. We want to live. At least I want to
Right.
live. I like life. I
Yeah,
love
I want
life.
to live. Right.
I love life. I
Yeah.
think it's a great. It's an incredible concept. Life. I mean, that's why. Okay. It's not that I believe in a Christian God, but I believe in a higher entity. I believe in
Oh,
consciousness.
I
I
agree
believe.
with that.
Can we have a new show then?
We will have for sure about that.
And we can talk
will have
about
show
the
about it.
gift. We can talk about the gift of life.
We can talk maybe about life next time, but we will see. But look, we are talking about life. Actually, the topic that we have is about life. I think that
Death.
talking about death is talking about life.
Right. But the topic of the show is,
We cannot.
and that's
It would be a very dull 45 minutes if we all sat here we're all here as corpses, wouldn't it? I mean, because
But okay. But this reminds me something. Like, look how death is portrayed in the culture. It's this guy with a covered face, doesn't have
sickle,
blood,
yeah.
and
Grim Reaper.
what tool does he carry?
A sickle.
Yeah, and what it is, how we use it? Don't we use it to rip the
to harvest?
Yeah, to harvest.
So he's
but
harvesting
the goods, right? So maybe death is like this, like harvesting the life of people to add it up to the big experience of the big mind, maybe.
Yeah.
So it's not for nothing. Maybe this is the more immortality that you are talking about.
It's the Illuminati and the lizard people that are harvesting us normal mortals for their own wicked use.
Those guys are going to pay. Look, you can say a lot of things about death, but death is the only thing that is really, really fair in a way. Everybody dies.
Yes, everybody.
Not
everybody
is sick, not everybody's healthy, not everybody's rich, not everybody's beautiful, not everybody lives long, not everybody, has a good life.
Thank you.
But everybody is dying. So it's
That's true.
from nature, it's the given thing that is fair to everybody. Well, of course, the before death, the question is not if there is death or if there is, it's was there life actually in the metaphorical way, as a philosophical way. Have you lived? Did you do the things that you kind wanted to do? Did you experience the things? Did you travel? Did you love people? Do you tell the people that you love them? Did you do those whole things? Did you experience those things? Because it is those things are not granted, but death is granted. Right. So and the death is the end point, that from then on you will not be able to do those things, not talk to them, not tell them all those things. Unless you meet them somewhere, but I don't think that it will be in the same way, because you don't belong to the space-time anymore. Whatever we say here, whatever we do here, we are in this state, in the state of space-time, in the state of living being.
I suppose
you want to be on your deathbed.
Cold comfort I have, of course. Go on then.
Good. No, the only thing is you want to be on your deathbed and go, I wish I would have done this. And that's what coming close to death those 4 or 5 times, even at a young age, has taught me. And I think that's why I'm willing to go out and kick in the door and take chances and do, whether it's personal or professional, because I never want to be on my deathbed and go, man, I wish I would have done this. I wish I would have done. I'm doing everything I want to do. I go do purposely. Because
you know what I do? You know what I do every day? I make a thought about myself that if you were about to die now, was it worth living? Did you do the things that you wanted? Did you? And then my answer, because everybody has an answer to it, and my answer is yes. I did most of the things that I did. It's not that I have finished. I can do a lot of more. I can do more artworks. I want to make more love with my fiancée. I want to go more walks with my dog, etc., etc. Because I really, really enjoy those things, and I enjoy it to the fullest. So I'm with you there, Stephen. That I try to enjoy everything that I have, because I know that one day I won't be able to do those.
And exactly,
and I'm happy
same with travel.
Exactly, and I'm happy with, and it gives another depth to life, knowing that one day, and it's not only about death, the end. Look, we're getting older. When you were 20, we're not 20. I don't go to clubs anymore, although I could go, but I don't have any clubs here on the village.
You're on an
to go and dance
for
7 hours, and flirt with all the girls there and all the stuff.
Let's just be clear. When I was younger, first of all, I didn't dance for 7 hours. I didn't dance for 30 seconds. I didn't flirt with any of the girls. I was too introverted. Even though otherwise I'm not, but it was like, whatever. I was like, I can't be bothered. And then I found that as I went out into the real world, not a club, and I met women, I could flirt and joke with them. And it was like, that was easier for me. I could never do it at a club. I was never the club guy. My friends would go to clubs. I would go with them. I'd sit in the corner and have a cigar and, drink whatever. And they'd be like, can we go? I'm like, I got to, this has got to be better than this. That was sort of a thing.
But now I have the next topic to tell you because of what you were saying. And I think then the next topic will be about women.
I won't be here next week. I'll be on an airplane.
So I would save that.
Can we save that for 2 weeks?
Save that.
Okay, if you like. You want to participate in the women topic?
It's just me next week.
Okay, David, what's the next topic? Because we're coming close to the today's. We didn't finish it, but
the topic
back again.
You could do Death 2 next week if you want. You could do Death 2 next week.
The return of Death.
No, we will do Death in another way.
You started off the show by saying, look, you're the host and you choose what it is. So let's just do it that way. And I just wanted to finish the show on a really important note, because Stephen was talking about clubs and stuff like that. I'm deeply comforted by the fact that my club, the Church of England, has guaranteed me to go wherever there's milk and honey. So happy days.
I got your milk and honey. I got your milk and honey right here, pal.
Are you practicing Christian of England, of Church of England? Are you practicing, or are you just
no? They have a word for it. It's called default. So
Default.
I'm default Protestant, default Church of England, which guarantees us like everything, you know. So we're first in the line, mate. So get behind me.
There you go.
Okay.
Stephen's having
There
some
you go.
sort of
That's awesome.
intellectual message.
Yeah, fireworks behind. He's exploding.
I'm exploding on the thing.
Yeah, well, that's not what he's calling it.
But anyway, well, I call it a lot.
What happens
So anyway,
is that what happens when you have sex, Stephen? That your head explodes with fireworks, or does it come out? Or does it come out with balloons? This is what happens when
I have sex. There you go. No,
Well,
this is what happens.
They say that sometimes orgasms are little deaths because you get empty.
True. And sometimes,
well, they are for all those poor little sperm soldiers that jump out for nothing. Yeah.
Yeah, this is a very, very unfortunate thing. It's really, really sad thing that that the wars are bringing death to young people. That means that they haven't lived. They haven't experienced what we were talking before about those small things, which are not small at all. They are very, very big. Because most of the entities that could have been born, which is an astronomical. I heard talking to the Grass Tyson, the guy who's the scientist, the black guy.
Yeah. Tyson. Tyson Grass is astrophysicist guy.
Yeah. He had I saw a clip of him, and because he's a scientist, he said that the number of people that could have been born, it doesn't mean that they will be. It's astronomical. I mean, our DNA and the combination that can have it, astronomical. And look, most of them are not going to come.
No, most of
them
are
the lucky ones because I believe it is allowed.
That's the reason why it doesn't happen.
So I think we can finish with this positive thing, because I didn't mean to for us to talk about in a negative way.
Are we having a requiem for lost sperm? Is that why we're closing the show?
Oh my God!
Oh, the death of the sperm. Well, that's
isn't it statistic?
Look, the sperm, they fight for one thing. They're no individual egos. They're fighting together for one thing: to get into the egg of a woman, which is one of our topics, the next topic, and get her fertilized, so that there is another life, another possibility to have this kind of conversations that we have, or experience that we have, and to see the world from the outside also, that we can do right now, and judge, be curious.
But then, if you extend that argument, then sperm is by definition the ultimate ego, because only one of them wants to win, and they don't care what happens to the rest.
That's not the ego. That's like together, working together.
Survival.
Ego is I want it for myself. I want all the money. Like who is egoistic? The very, very rich guy.
I want the egg. I want the egg. I want the egg.
No. It doesn't matter who gets to the egg, because we share the same DNA. We are the same thing. And look, nature teaches us this thing. But we humans, and I wrote it recently, yesterday, I think, on Twitter, X, that I say that the more intellectual we become, the more intelligent we become, the more egoistic we become, because it looks like so. Only humans are in this kind of level of egoism. I mean, okay, the animals, they need to feed them, but when they are not hungry anymore, they don't care to kill or to just live their life, enjoy, nature, just lay down, and stuff like that. Also humans, we used to fight for survival all the time, and now we have the ability, because we have food in our refrigerator and the supermarket, to have conversation like that and talk about other stuff beyond survival.
I agree.
Yeah.
Well, it'll be interesting shows coming up.
But my question was also about the AI, which we always also often talk about.
Yes.
That if the ego is somehow correlated with intelligence, well, we are creating right now a kind of digital species with the AI, because it is intelligent.
Oh, that's the next
become more
topic. How do you know? Wait.
How do we know that it won't become very, very?
How do we know we're not? How do we know we're not AI? How do we know 50,000 or 50 million years ago someone created us? We're creating.
We don't know.
How do you know?
We don't know, but we know.
I'm just we're going to close the show with this one thought. I'm excited, really excited about digital sperm. There you go.
Digital sperm.
That's
Don't
Well,
forget to subscribe and like. Catch the show live every
it
Monday and
won't.
rebroadcast every Tuesday.
It won't. Well, this is a topic that we can digital
Yeah.
species. Yeah, maybe we'll talk about this as AI digital species.
digital
I like
sperm
it.
next week on Adam on the Eve.
Yeah.
Bye, everybody.